Thank you, Dave. Uh, I got to know Peter a little bit when I got to the company in 1997, and I didn't work that closely with Peter in 1997, but I was drawn to him because he was one of the people there who not only was passionate but was willing to explain what the hell was going on. And there are a lot of people in this room that I knew back in 1997 who will attest to the fact that I had little idea what was going on in 1997. Peter was always very patient and very willing to explain what was happening and do it in a way that most people could understand. And that was one of the many things that a lot of us admired about Peter, is that he was an amazing mentor. There are a lot of people in this room who I believe he hired, and people who are still at the company. And he was very committed to bringing people along and mentoring people, and helping them have an impact at the broader organization. I got to know Peter a lot better when I was working on AWS. And in the beginning of AWS, when we decided we're going to build this infrastructure technology platform, it was a little bit different for what we were doing at the company at the time. This was around 2003. And it was hard in the beginning to try and convince people to work on it. And amazingly, Peter wanted to work on it. I didn't actually have to recruit that hard. Peter really wanted to do it. He was excited and passionate and could see what was possible. And thank God, like he was a huge part. I don't think AWS happens if there isn't Peter Cohen. And he was the person who wrote the working backwards document for what was then S4 and then became S3, which was our storage service. He also wrote the working backwards document for Mechanical Turk, which if anybody has used it or played with it, it's not super simple. And so it was a lot of complexity with a lot of moving parts and a lot of people very interested in lots of details of it. And frankly, in the early days when we were doing AWS and we were in this pattern of meeting with our founder and CEO, Jeff Bezos, who was very interested in AWS, we were meeting with him every week. And if the document wasn't written by Peter, Jeff was not happy. A lot of times we'd be in the middle of a meeting that was going sideways, and the document, really, a lot of the documents were frankly not bad, but Peter was an unusual writer, and halfway through the meeting, Jeff would say, "Wait a second, did Peter Cohen write this document?" And we'd say, "No," and he'd say, "Come back again." So, Peter, but again, it wasn't just that Peter was an unbelievable writer. He had this knack of taking complicated subjects and finding a way, as Vanya said, to get to the core of it and then explain it in a way that everybody could understand. And it's not easy to do that with harder technical concepts. And so, I spent a lot of time with Peter over the years, and he gave me lots of wisdom along those days. And I do remember in the early days we were all killing ourselves and we were working really hard, and we weren't really making much progress, to be honest. The first couple of years it was taking us a long time to find these products, and we all felt a lot of pressure because we were getting paid and nothing was happening. And I remember Peter came in my office one day, and which he would often do, and he said, "I have something I need to tell you, and it's really important, and it's profound." I said, "Okay." And I kind of braced myself because I was a little bit busy, and sometimes the conversations would take a while. And he said, "I want to tell you that there are only 24 hours in a day." And he said, "You need to understand that for yourself, but especially you need to understand it for the team." And it was, I'm not sure that my team would tell you that I fully obliged by that, but it was an important message and an important time that gave perspective. And it was, again, lots of times Peter was able to kind of share wisdom that helped. Peter ran Mechanical Turk, and it was kind of a crazy service. And in the beginning when we first launched Mechanical Turk in November 2005, we had, they were these human intelligence tasks, and we had about 600,000 or 700,000 of these photo identification tasks from our storage service, A9. And as we launched it, we didn't know if anyone would come and anyone would fill out these tasks, and they were going as fast as we were putting them in there. And Jeff had mandated that we never run out of any work. It was unacceptable to run out of work. And so in the first 12 hours, we ran through all 600,000 images, and there was no more work. Nobody knew about Mechanical Turk. So we didn't know what to do, and we decided we'd just put that same work back in there, which of course, we'd already done the work. And I remember that night that Peter called me at about 2:45 in the morning at home, and he was practically in tears, and he was telling me, I just, as quickly as we put these things in, they are going. What do I do? And I said, I never thought I'd get to say back to you, there are only 24 hours in a day. But that's it, and so, we of course, achieved some modicum level of sanity as we built out the service. Peter did a great job with it and built a great team. I spent many hours over the years talking to Peter about many topics, and usually it was him sharing wisdom with me. He had a lot more life experience, it seemed, and we talked about work and about management and about leadership and about the arts and about marriage and about raising kids, and I felt like I was being mentored and tutored by Peter during that time, just on life issues. It was very meaningful and very helpful for me during that time. And I think that if you go through a really intense experience, like working at a startup, and in our case, a couple startups at Amazon, you have this, you go through hopefully having a little bit of success together and having some failure together and having some arguments together and debate, and things don't always go the way you want. But if you go through it and you get through it together, there's a bond there and a tie there that lasts forever. And I think you can not just see with Peter, there's a lot of people in this room who I have not seen for many, many years, who it's like seeing old family, just seeing them around. And that was very much the case with Peter, and always will be the case for me, at least, with Peter. He was unbelievably smart, very deep, very thoughtful, had a huge heart, and was somebody who was just one of the more unusual people I got a chance to work with, one of the smartest people I ever got a chance to work with. So I will miss Peter. I feel lucky, like I think a lot of the people in this room do, to have known him. But I will take as solace what the rabbi said earlier, which was, I'll always feel his hand on my shoulder as we move forward. So thank you.